Hey Emily, taking a look at this. It's nice to see that everything is moving forward again for you. Let's take a look. I don't have a ton of stuff, I don't think, but I think in the future, if you could kind of like knock the black lined background back so I can focus mostly on the characters, with them not having like solid white fill or whatever. Um, Sometimes it makes it a little tricky to make out like the drawings. Like Winter's face here is an issue, but it's fine. But maybe just for next time, that would be great. Alright, so I'm going to kill the sound, and I don't think I have a ton of stuff. I have a little bit of stuff here between this pose. I like this pose, how you have this, and the legs, like I'm imagining their knees somewhere in here. I don't know if your character has knees, but perhaps, right? But when they turn, they're like turning their torso this way. I feel like maybe if we want to imply that, like, the feet kind of come this way, here it feels like the top half rotates and the bottom doesn't. So I don't know if you want it to be like something like internally there's like the legs are going like this, which would be fine. Maybe those are the ugliest feet ever. Draw them like you like them or whatever. Maybe you don't want this much definition in the legs or whatever, but it would be nice to kind of indicate, at least here, maybe what you have to do is just make the legs look like they're coming out this way, and I think you'll just get a little bit more like easy to read silhouette. I don't know, whatever you want to do, whatever the solution is, that's just kind of my off the cuff suggestion, and by no means like the best 2D animator in the world, so take that with a grain of salt. The real boring kind of stuff with 2D animating, so I was trying to make like make sure your volumes are consistent, your limbs are all consistent length, but I think we're doing pretty well on that front. So yeah, maybe being something like this will make something like this feel a bit stronger. So when does Autumn decide to gain altitude?
No, Monday night, fly to Brussels.
On Fly to Brussels. I like that choice. It's kind of like emphasizing stuff, but one thing I would pay attention to here is like in most of this, we have like the feet riding the bottom of the frame, right? So I'm going to try to see like that's kind of where the height is. And here it seems like there's some altitude gain, right? Up here that feels significantly higher. Yep. But what I'm seeing is that the feet don't really gain much and clear the bottom of the frame. So maybe it's that, try to make sure that like this distance is staying relatively consistent, and I think it is. So what I suspect is happening is that like her lower torso is just being lengthened a bit. We want to like maintain those volumes and everything. One of the things that is kind of catching my eye with this a lot is how stiff her hair or their hair feels to me. So maybe if they're coming over here, I'm sure you'll get breakdowns and stuff eventually. Like if they zip up, maybe the hair does something like, I don't know how flexible you want it to be. And then eventually, you can have it like swoop over and everything. But I would try to like, and I know I'm drawing things that is not your hair design. I get that. Like yours is kind of more like circles and stuff. But that secondary animation is going to really help make this feel loose and nice, and all that. Just something to keep in mind. Again, maybe it feels like they've lengthened with where the legs fall. So just try to keep that in mind. And something that you might actually want to do is just keep a drawing, like maybe like a model sheet drawing of your character, like as a layer or something. And so then you can always kind of take this as like a relative size thing, and put it where your character is to see if they match up on every drawing to make sure that your character's kind of staying the same size. Like I drew this really big, but this feels sort of like what the character is now, where maybe before, if you had that size thing, the character would feel like smaller. I'll quit talking about it. I don't think it's that complicated, and I think you probably already get it. Okay, so anyways, yeah, so I think if she turns, yeah, I don't super understand what the hair is doing. So like if this is kind of like where the ball is and she turns, they turn, it would kind of like be maybe something like that, you know what I mean, before it like swings back. So I would start building that in now. I know that you were just recreating what you had on the video, and maybe you hadn't thought about it that much. This pose is like, okay, anyways, moving forward, these are some great poses. I feel like they read like really strongly. Yeah, this would be a good pose also to use that size guide on, because I feel like she really gains a lot of size here, because her feet are not that much far above the bottom of the frame, and her head's not that far above the bottom of the frame either, so I feel like she really has grown in size here. And this stuff is a little bit of a pain, but it'll pay dividends once you start getting, you know, to the more polished final stages of this stuff, that your character feels like a little more solid and a little more consistent. Ooh, I like that you're turning Autumn in profile here. That's really nice. I like that they sink down here when they're like, I don't know, like they're almost a little bit ashamed of it and stuff. I think that's really nice too. So really nice stuff. I'm going to take another pass and keep an eye on Winter. Cool. I really like how Winter's head tracks like this to follow Autumn. That's really cool. So here it's kind of like you have that attitude, or that like almost like we're seeing a little bit underneath his chin, but then we rotate to this opposite kind of angle here, which is fine, but then we like pop back to that first one, and it may be like a little busy. Maybe not, maybe it's fine. I do like there being kind of like a shift when they start speaking and stuff, and this works really well. I guess what I'm questioning is whether we need such a big pose change here. It's not that I dislike the drawing, I do like the drawing, but what is motivating that pose change? Yeah, maybe it's fine. You can ignore me if you like. That's really up to you.
Brussels, then on to
Just
Dusseldorf
food for
Wednesday.
thought, I
Wow,
suppose.
busy schedule. What do you do? Then home again for 2 days, then back to bloody New York again. What do you do for a living? I don't know.
Cool.
Tuesday,
Yeah,
no,
I think
Monday
it's all
night.
coming along. Yeah, so just keep on doing what you're doing. I would, other than just maintaining the sizes, I think that's like the biggest issue that I'm seeing now. Um, you know, but all of the rest of it seems to be working really, really well. So keep it up. Oh yeah, and knock back the background just so we can see the drawings like with maybe a little more clarity. And I know that these are just roughs or whatever. So it's all looking good. All right, see you in class, Emily.